What's up, everybody? This is Rob Barrington from LearnBridge.nyc, and this video is going to take you through the results from this past Friday's weekly online tournament. This was held Friday, April 20th till Saturday, April 21st, and it was held on BridgeBase. So if you want to play in this week or next week, let me know. We'll sign you up, and you can play the hands we're about to talk about. When you complete the tournament, and it's a 2-day tournament, so it's going to take a little while after you complete it for all the results to show up. But when they do, you can walk through them like I'm about to show you. And the way you're going to do this is you're on your home screen of BridgeBase right now. On the app, you can essentially just click on History, which is on the bottom. Here, it's just a little more confusing, but not too bad. You're going to start by going up to My BBO, and you're going to click on that. And a little menu bar is going to open up, and you're going to go right down to where it says Hands and Results. So first, it's My BBO, and second, it's Hands and Results. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to have this screen here. This is a screen you can move around if you want. You can resize it, make it bigger or smaller for your needs. But the tab we're concerned with here is Recent Tournaments. So we're going to click on that. And here's every tournament you've played. You're obviously looking at my screen, so these are all the tournaments that I've been playing and challenges. And the one I'm looking for is LearnBridge.nyc, which is the fifth one down on my screen. If it's the last tournament you played, it'll be the top one right on your screen. So just click on where it says LearnBridge.nyc, and we're going to do two things here. The results screen, which is what I'm hovering over now, is just going to show you the results of the tournament. And we can see that the winner of this tournament was Joel Wooldridge, a world-class player, obviously. He did as well as we should expect him to do, 74.44%. Right behind him was Raluca Debrescu, who is one of my bridge partners, fine bridge pro here in New York. And then we have the amateur winners. We have Danielle Cousin, 70.53%, Matt Rudari, 68.91% here, and Barb Delia, 64.66%. Congratulations to all of you for your top 5 finish. Everyone else's result will be here. Don't worry if you were near the bottom. This is why we do these things, right? We get a chance to play these hands and take a look at how we could have done better afterwards. And that's what we're going to get to next. This is the biggest win for this type of tournament because when you click on My Hands, you're going to be presented with a screen just like this. And we get to walk through not just what we did at our table, and you're looking at my results for the tournament right now. And we'll talk about board 8 later. This was my one disaster for the tournament, and it cost me a higher finish, obviously. But every single one of these hands will walk you through exactly what you did and what everyone else did on the boards that you played. So let's take a look at some of these results, guys. Okay, so now we're zoomed into the results screen right here, and you can see my results for the tournament. I was doing so well until board 8, and then my dreams of weekly tournament victory just faded immediately. And we'll talk more about that hand later, but you can see that each hand you'll have the result you achieved, and then you'll have your match points, which are to the right. We're looking at the Wii match points, which is this column right here to the left. Anything over 50% should be reasonably good, right? That's our average score for each of these boards. So if we're above 50% on most or all of the boards, we're probably going to do pretty well. And I was doing very nicely all the way up until board 8, which was a total disaster that we'll get to. But you can see how one board can really affect your placing in the tournament. I was 7th and I got 15% on the last board. If I just had some sort of reasonable result there, maybe I would have climbed up the leaderboard just a little bit. But that can happen, guys, and it's not going to happen at the same spot every time. Sometimes you might make a mistake on the first board. That is actually more manageable than the mistake on the last board because you don't have a chance to recover. But when you make a mistake, just shrug it off and hope for the best on the next one, or just hope it didn't affect your tournament too catastrophically. So we look at each of these hands and we'll always see the auction, and I'm cycling through the first few hands. You'll always see the auction on the upper right hand side. So this is every bid that was made at your table, and after you're done looking at the auction, down here where you see this arrow I'm about to press is next trick. When you click on that, you can see exactly what was played to this trick, and so on and so forth. As we keep pressing, we can see how we played each of these hands. So board 1 was twofold. First of all, you had to get to 3 no trump, and partner helped out a lot here. East opened up one club, and we should all be overcalling one no trump with the South hand. We have a very balanced, good 17 with excellent stoppers in the opponent's bid suit, which was clubs. So we bid one no trump, and the robot takes an aggressive stance with their hand. They have a 6-card diamond suit. They only have 7 high card points, but their 2 club bid and their subsequent 2 no trump bid shows you that they're certainly evaluating this hand higher than just 7 points, and it's because of the length in diamonds most likely. So when they bid 2 no trump, our only bid is 3 no trump, guys. Remember, that's the bid that says, hey, I want to know if you're at the high end or the low end of your range. And with 17, we're absolutely at the high end, so we would accept their invitation after statement and bid 3 no trump. And now the opponents lead a spade. The whole goal to this hand is to make sure we can set up diamonds before the opponents can hopefully set up a lot of tricks in their suits. You could play low here, but that might lead to some issues. The reason I took the king is because the 10 is at least somewhat likely to hold up for another stopper, right? It might not, who knows? But if the spades split evenly, we're okay anyway, even if the 10 doesn't hold up. The priority here is to set up your suit first. I looked at some of the hands where we went down in 3 no trump, which we can see through the results here. Most of the crew made 3 no trump. There were quite a few, though, that were down in 3 no trump. And the mistakes we made, for those of you that went down in 3 no, where we didn't get to diamonds right away, or we got to diamonds, but we blocked the suit. The most important play at trick 2 here is to play the king of diamonds. So after the spade lead, we're going to plunk down the king of diamonds. And this is so when we lead diamonds next, we get to win in the long hand. So we need to get rid of that king of diamonds in order to set these diamonds up and have a nice entry to that diamond suit. You could use the heart as the entry to the diamond suit as well if you ended up blocking this particular suit. But it's much easier just to do it this way. Some of you played hearts right away and then got to diamonds, and that was trouble for you. So the absolute priority on this hand is to set up our longest suit, and that's almost always the case in no trump, guys. See where your extra tricks are going to come from, and then attack that suit right away. But attack it smartly. Play the king of diamonds, and now, after they win, it really doesn't make a huge difference what they come back on the lay of the cards. They cashed a club at my table, and then they cashed both of their spades, and now I essentially just have a claim for the rest of my tricks. All the diamonds are good. I probably have more tricks than I know what to do with in this particular spot, and that's not a terrible thing, right? We have enough tricks to make our contract. We made 3 no. Bingo. So for those of you that went down, remember, king of diamonds first. If we play low, we're blocking the suit. And if we compounded this by playing hearts before diamonds, then we really had a tough time, because now we have no way to get there if we do end up blocking that diamond suit. Board number 2 was another relatively straightforward no trump hand. We have 20 balanced with the south, so we open 2 no trump, and partner just raises to 3 no trump. On the opening lead of a heart, the one thing I want to make sure we all recognize is that we must win either the ace, the king, or the queen of hearts from our hand. The reason we're doing this is our source of tricks on this particular hand should turn out to be clubs. And we want to have an entry to get to that club suit. We only have 2 clubs in our hand, so after we play 2 rounds of clubs, we're not going to have a way back to dummy. So we need to recognize that before we decide to play any card to this first trick. And notice we could certainly win with the 10 of hearts when they lead it, but now we've given up the way that we're going to get to dummy. The entry to the dummy on this hand will be the jack of hearts, so prepare for that here. And now the club suit should just be played ace of clubs. We're going to play low to the 9 and surrender our loser now. And when we lose this trick and get back in, we'll be able to test whether the clubs are breaking evenly while still maintaining control. And here we've played 2 rounds of clubs, so if they are breaking evenly, the king should take care of both of the other clubs. However, when we play the king, if we don't see that the suit is breaking, we may choose to switch to a different suit, because we still have control of that suit. We're not giving it to the opponents at that point. So on the spade return, we're going to win our ace, And here is an odd spot. They played the 10 of spades, and I played the ace. And I pitched the jack from the dummy. And this is just in case if it turns out that East is likely to have the queen of spades, I can take this finesse later on in the spade suit while winning it in my hand instead of playing the jack from dummy. So the only reason the jack is being played here is because I just saw the 10. If I want to finesse later, I want to make sure I end up in my hand if it works. But in reality, not a situation I would consider taking a finesse, especially if as we're about to see, clubs are breaking evenly. All right, now I play my king of clubs, and this is the moment I was talking about earlier. When you play that king of clubs, you get to see if the suit is breaking while still maintaining control of that suit. And here it's breaking, so it wasn't going to be too bad either way we decided to do this. But when it's not breaking, and let's say instead of playing it the way we did, we played ace of clubs, king of clubs, and then led a club. When it's not breaking in that spot, they get to cash 2 tricks. Here, by maintaining control, even if it doesn't break, so you can see making 4 was an excellent score on this board. 87% is pretty decent. We can see a lot of people ended up going down in 3-no trump, which is normal on a hand like this, especially if we didn't unblock in that heart suit right away. 630 was worth 87%. If you only made 3, you still did well with 64.8%. We had one outlier here. It was Danielle Cousin. She made 6 on this hand. Nice job, Danielle. If you were anywhere between 3 and 4, you did very well. Those of you that went down, you probably did one of the things wrong. You either blocked up the club suit by playing a low club first, or you forgot to leave that jack of hearts in the dummy to gain entry to that club suit. And folks, don't get me wrong, you don't want to duck the first club trick. You have to get rid of the ace of clubs first. So the best way to play clubs is the way we saw it at my table here. Ace of clubs and then a low club to the 9. You can play the king and then another club, but again, you're giving them control in that situation if it doesn't break evenly. So ace of clubs, low club to the 9 or 10 is the best way to deal with this. And now we're out of the dummy's way. The ace of clubs is gone, so when we get back over there with this nice jack of hearts, we get to play king of clubs and see what's going on. And we're rewarded with a nice 3-3 break. The third board was a pretty average board. We have a normal 1-no trump opening bid, partner bid Stayman, and then 2 spades, and then invites to game with 2-no. I chose to bid 3 on this hand because I have a good 16, in my opinion. It's not excellent, right? I don't have a 5-card suit, but I have 2 good 4-card suits. I have a couple of outside 10s, so I gave it a go here. So we wound up in 3-no, and most of us played 3-no trump on this hand, and we had varying degrees of success. I made 3, some other tables made 4, and that was the best looks like we were going to be able to do on this particular hand. The way the play went, we had a diamond lead, which is actually a great lead for us. We set up our diamond suit immediately with this opening lead, and then they switched to a heart, which we should win in the dummy. And here's where you just count your winners. Right? You already took 1 trick. You have 4 extra diamond tricks. That's going to be 5 total. You have a heart, which is 6. And you have 2 spades, which is 8. And you need 1 more trick. And the opportunity for that trick is going to come right now, especially from what I was looking at. I don't want to touch clubs because I might be able to develop a trick here, but I may lose 2 before I'm able to do that. If the clubs are wrong for me, they're going to be able to lead hearts and hearts again if I decide to play clubs for potentially having 2 losers. That would be bad for us. The easiest way to develop a 9th trick is in spades, and that's what I did right away. I played the 10 of spades and we finessed to the queen, and now bingo, I have a 9th trick, my jack. The question is, do I go for 10 or don't I? And the answer comes when they lead another heart. When they lead another heart and knock out this king of hearts, now I'm a little bit at risk for going down because they've essentially set up their heart suit, especially if the queen is behind us, which we can see that it is. So if I were to play a club at this point, and here's where I'm going to introduce you to the coolest button in these results. It's down here on the far right of this little dial here. You see GIB, it's GIB, and this is the robot. So at this moment, when I press it, I can see what the results of some of my plays will be. So if I play a club or a heart here, I'm going to go down one, right? Because of what we just talked about. If I lead a club and lose to the ace, they can lead through the heart position for 2 extra heart tricks. So it's too risky. So at this moment, knowing that that's a possibility, and obviously seeing in hindsight that it's a real disaster if we decide to do this, it's right to just cash out your winners, which is exactly what I did here. And this will give us a safe 9 tricks, and we made our contract. Those of you that made 4 probably got a little bit of help on a hand like this, and I'm going to show you what I mean here. Sometimes the robots will do some different things, even if you've had the same auction. It might even just be based on a card that you decided to play originally. So on this diamond, they led the ace, and we followed low. And this is Radu Nistor. He's an excellent national champion pro here in New York, and he played it essentially the same way the rest of us did, except he got a nice little bonus at trick 2. At trick 2, they let a club. And now he's able to take at least this club trick and probably one more, because the 10 will set up for a trick. So now he was given time to kind of untangle the rest of this entire hand. And he did so the same way we all did making 3. He took the spade finesse at some point and created another spade trick, and was able to develop, or the opponents have developed for him, the 10 of clubs. So if you make 4, you might have gotten a little bit of help, or you've done something a little differently and it worked out well, and that's an excellent score for you, 83%. But notice if you were just in 3-0 making 3, you were above average, which is where we want to be on most of these hands. You can't make every trick that everyone else does all the time. If you're in a good contract and you play it reasonably well and you make the required number of tricks, you're usually going to get a good score. Those of you that were a little behind on this one either didn't bid game, which I can kind of understand that. You might be a little timid with a semi-balanced 16, but it was a very good 16. I want you to look at that hand again and realize you have 2 good 4-card suits, a couple of outside 10 quality cards. So 3-0 is the better bid in this particular spot, and some of you are in 3-0 trump going down. Remember, count your winners, guys. Make sure you see how many winners you have before you start playing cards. And those of you that might have gone down, you still got the same ace of diamonds lead, so this was very helpful for all of us. You just needed to make sure to create that 9th trick before taking the rest of them. The next board was very average. I think almost all of us were just in 3 hearts making 4. And this is the classic question I get at all of my games and lessons. Whenever you see you're in a low-level contract making enough for game, you think you did something wrong. Like, hey, how did I not bid this game? It was cold. I can make 10 tricks all day long, and that's fine, guys. But it doesn't necessarily mean you should be there. And in fact, on the lay of these cards, if they defend correctly, we can't make 4. Right? They get to develop a spade. They always had 2 club tricks, and they get a heart trick. So if they ever break spades on this hand, we can only make 3. So the fact that you stopped in 3 is excellent, and we made 4 simply by the opponents not taking all of their tricks. So let's take a look at what Joel Wooldridge did on this board. Probably the same as the rest of us. The opponents got off to a poor lead choice. They let a heart at pretty much every table. When they do that, we can always take enough tricks on this particular hand because they got rid of the ace of hearts, and now they cannot develop this spade before we're going to be able to throw it away on diamonds. So what they did at each of our tables, they saw that they won the ace of hearts, they cashed out their clubs, and that was going to be it, guys. The rest of the hand will play itself, because now whenever we win a trick, we just draw trump and we play on the diamond suit to throw away our losers in our hand. So this should have been 3 hearts making 4. Board 5 was a relatively normal 4-heart contract. I think almost all of us played 4 hearts. John Kraniak decided to go for the gusto on this hand. He opened a no trump. His partner bid Stayman, and he denied a major. And I don't think this was a misclick. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. I think he just really wanted to play no trump with this hand. And he ended up getting a great score. He was 100% on this hand because he essentially made the same number of tricks that we all did in hearts, but he made it in no trump, which was 10 points higher. This is something you would consider doing if you really were either playing for tops or bottoms, or you knew you might have had a couple of poor results early and were trying to get one back. I don't recommend it, but it worked out amazing for Johnny, and he's an amazing player. So when he does stuff like this, you can assume that he's really going for a good score and has the tools to actually make it happen. For the rest of us mere mortals, I think just playing in hearts is going to yield a good score, and we can see that in 4 hearts making 5 we get 68.5%. That's a pretty decent score for a hand like this. And the way we make 5 on this hand is simply by guessing the heart suit correctly. The way we play hearts in these situations, we have Jack 10 9 fourth opposite King fourth, is to lead from the dummy towards our hand. Right? These holdings, Jack 10 9 fourth opposite King fourth, are all about the queen. And we want to try to finesse the queen and only lose the ace in situations like this. And here, in order to make 5, we have to be able to do that. So we want to be in dummy as quickly as we can. So after the club opening lead, they return a spade and we win the 10 in dummy. And now we play the Jack of Hearts, which is what I did here. And the beauty of the Jack is it'll produce a cover very frequently, especially against the robots. They cover pretty much, I can't say 100% of the time, but a very high percentage of the time they'll cover an honor when you lead an honor. And this is the best of all worlds. Now we don't have to sweat where the queen is. We play the Jack, they cover, we cover with the king, and there comes the ace. So now all of our hearts are good, and those are the only losers we took. If you played a low heart to the king, you went from making 5 down to making 4. Right? And I would guess if we look at most of these results here, we could see that something went wrong in the heart suit, and let's see if we're right here. There it is, right? When we win the king in this situation, we absolutely have 2 heart losers. We have the queen of hearts and the ace of hearts. So the best way to play this suit, again, guys, we play the Jack from dummy, and if they played low, we would play low. Right, so if the robot chose not to cover, we would still play low, and the Jack would produce the ace. And then we'd come back to dummy, and we'd finesse for that queen over again. So put that suit in your memory banks, guys. So with this holding, guys, it's always Jack. If you see the queen, you cover, and if you don't, you play low. You just take this finesse. And if it loses to the queen, it lost entirely. Now you don't have to worry. You're always going to lose the ace. But if it loses to the ace, we still can finesse for the queen again the next time. So be on the lookout for that holding, guys. So board 6 was a gift for me and several other people. We defended 4 hearts down 1. If we look at this hand, there's no way the robot should ever go down on this hand. But what they did on this particular board is they crashed their heart honors together and allowed us to take a trick with the Jack of Hearts, which they should not have done. And the reason they did that is unknown, right? We have no idea why the robot would choose to do what they did. However, the auction might lead us to some sort of conclusion on how they came to their decision. And it happened early on. They opened 2 hearts with the east hand, and the correct bid with south is double. And now I know you don't have 4 spades, and that's a big thing for our agreements at the beginning stages of our bridge career. We want to have 4 of the other major almost always when we double a major suit bid. Here we don't, but again, it's a preempt, and we don't want to give up an opportunity to show values. So that's why we're doubling. And when we double, we'll see the 3 spade bid by the robot, which if we mouse over it, looks like a splinter bid. It shows a good hand and 1 or fewer spades. And north doubles to show spades. If we're not mousing over the bids, it's something you want to do during the auction, because sometimes you might not know what a bid means, or you might not know what the robot thinks it means. So mouse over these bids, and you'll be able to see what each of these means. And partner's essentially saying, hey, I have a good spade suit. When we see rebiddable spades, it's at least 5, usually 6. It's not a good enough hand to bid 4 spades, though, folks. So the robot is essentially saying, hey, I have spades. I don't have a 4 spade bid. I don't have enough to bid a game. And East bids 4 hearts, and that's where I passed and a lot of the rest of you passed as well. We can see most of us played 4 hearts. I'm interested in these results in the middle because these are actually legitimately excellent results. All of us that were in 4 hearts down 1 did great. We got a great score on this board, but it wasn't necessarily the legitimate way to get a great score. We needed the partnerships against us to make a mistake, and they did. However, 4 spades doubled down only 1 is a great score because it's less than what their game pays. And we can see what their game pays down below in these results. Here, our players took on a little bit of a more aggressive stance after the 4 heart bid. 2 of our players here that ended up in spades just doubled again, and partner ended up bidding 4 spades, as they always will with their hand. And one of the other players just bid 4 spades, right? All of these are reasonable because of the vulnerability. North-south is not vulnerable, east-west is. So if we think they're likely to be making 4 hearts and we have an opportunity to maybe play spades instead, and we should know partners certainly shorten hearts on this auction, that maybe we can give it a shot and see what they want to do. And the double here should be more takeout-ish than penalty. However, if partner has some sort of reasonable defensive hand, they could pass 4 hearts doubled, but they chose to bid 4 spades correctly, and they did get doubled, but only down 1 is minus 100. Even minus 300 would be better than all of the minus 620s we see here. So for those of you that ended up sacrificing in spades, congratulations. That's especially Joel Radu and Chasm 1947. Nice job, guys. So board 7 was pretty normal to be in 4 or 5 hearts, making 6. One player in particular gets the gold star, or I don't know, the mark of shame. They ended up bidding 6 hearts. That was Michael Berkowitz. He went a little bit aggressive on this, ended up getting a terrific score because he was in 6 hearts. However, the rest of the room was in 4 or 5 hearts, making 6 for the most part. If you didn't make 6, we're going to show you how to do that. But we'll look at the auction first. At my table, I opened 1 heart. My partner bid 2 diamonds, and I chose to bid 2 spades. Some of the other pros actually bid 2 no trump. I would recommend all of you that are just starting out in 2/1 to just make the most descriptive shape bid initially, and that's what I did here. After the 2 diamond bid, I bid 2 spades because I just want to let my partner know more about my shape. I have 5 hearts and 4 spades. That's usually going to be the most useful piece of information partner can have, and you'll get to the same spot as everybody else almost always. And the reason I bid 2 spades is because I want partner to have a better picture of my hand. If I bid 2 no, I'm usually just going to confine that to 5, 3, 3, 2 hands. Right? It gives partner also a more reliable picture in most of these situations. After we bid 2 spades, partner bids 3 hearts, which should show some extra values and a heart fit. Well, notice after the 3 heart bid, my hand bid 4 clubs. And I'm just trying to keep the conversation open for potentially playing slam. The club bid is not natural. The club bid is simply saying, hey, I have control of the club suit and I have some interest in playing slam if you do. And now partner responds with 4 spades, which shows first round control of spades. And at this point, with 2 small diamonds, we have nowhere else to go. So in my case, I just signed off in 5 hearts. A lot of the other players did control bid 4 clubs over 3 hearts, and partner just bid 4 hearts. Those were the ones that bid 2 no trump originally. When they showed their balanced hand, it didn't excite their partner to a great degree. So after that control bid, they just bid 4 hearts. So it's okay to make a control bid in all these spots. The one thing I'll remind you of, though, is that these tournaments are best hand tournaments. And when we say that, it means that your hand is the best hand at the table. So if you just bid 4 hearts instead of control bidding, you're probably making a reasonable bid for the robot tournament because partner's limited in the strength that they can actually have. In a realistic bridge situation, though, partner's hand is unlimited. So we would always make this control bid just to see where partner wanted to go. Now the last hand is where my tournament completely derailed, and this is an interesting hand. West starts with the opening bid of 2 hearts, and then it goes pass to you, and you have a big hand. You have 18 balanced. This is always a spot where you have to bid. Some of you pass 2 hearts. which you might not have done as poorly as I did on this hand by passing 2 hearts. You let them preempt you out of the auction, which is exactly what they're trying to do. So we have to get into the auction with hands like this because we clearly have the best hand at the table, and we want to see if we can potentially not only play a contract, but play a game. So we double to start. And then West does something that I know I tell you all never to do. They bid again. They bid 3 diamonds, which is actually a very descriptive bid for their hand. They have 6 hearts and 4 diamonds. They're kind of giving partner an option of playing in either of these 2 suits. So now it goes pass, pass back to you. The winners on this hand passed. And if we look at the other table's results, you'll see, excuse me, there we go. When you look at the other table's results, you'll see the players that did the best in general were the ones that just let them play 3 diamonds. Right? If you let them play 3 diamonds and they make it, you're getting 76.9%. The really cool bids come right here, and this is Raluca, John Kreniak, and Joel Wooldridge. They made probably the best second bid if you're going to make a call, and it was 3 no trump. And this is a conversation that I had with John Hurd, who's another top pro. I gave him this hand and I said, what do you do after they bid 3 diamonds and it goes pass, pass back to you? And his exact answer was, well, I would never double again, which is what I did. I would either pass, which he's leaning more towards. If I were forced to make a bid, it would be 3 no trump. And the reason is you're still kind of guessing in this particular spot. You have an excellent hand, and you know that East is willing to play diamonds and not hearts. And we know that because partner opened 2 hearts showing 6, and it went pass, pass, double, and then they bid 3 diamonds, and it went pass, and East passed. Right, so we know partner has some number of hearts on this particular hand, and those of you that bid 3 no trump, and it's all 3 top pros, we can see kind of what they're thinking about. They're rolling the dice in a little bit of a way, knowing that partner probably has something decent in hearts, and they're hoping to just be able to take 9 tricks on this hand with the strength of their values. This was a bid that turned out to be very successful for the players that made it. They got 92.3% on this particular board. Those of you that let them play 3 diamonds got 76.9%. Even those of you that passed 2 hearts, which again is the wrong thing to do. You always want to get in there. You can't let them preempt you out of these hands. If you let them play 2 hearts, you still did better than I did on this board because my choice was the least of the good choices. I chose to double again. And here's what I was thinking about, and Radu Nistor made the same bid I did with the same catastrophic results. And we were talking about the idea that, hey, now that I know partner has some hearts, I'm doubling, and this is absolutely a takeout double. But what both of us were hoping is that partner just passed. Right, we were just going to be able to defend 3 diamonds doubled. That's what I was thinking for sure, and that's what Radu was thinking as well. We just want to try to play in a doubled contract at the 3 level. Unfortunately, our partner bid 3 spades, which we had to pass, and we were stuck playing in a 3-3 spade fit for down 4. Not the best result to have, especially on the last board. It's excruciatingly painful when you had a good tournament, and my tournament was pretty decent up until that particular point. 15.4% does not get you into the leadership bracket. So guys, it was such a pleasure to run this for you. Sorry it took me a little longer than expected to get these out. Had a lot of results to go through, but hope you all had fun, and you'll join us again this coming Friday, which is April 27th, for our next run at this free weekly online instant tournament. Until then, guys, have a great week, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at the email address that you received this on. So have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next time. This is Rob Barrington. Take care.